Australia, of course, especially in Melbourne, we have one very specific situation, which is called a hook turn. It's when you turn to the right and cross a tram railway, then you have to do that from the very left lane. So you have to drive into the intersection, wait for the red light, and then when the intersection is clear, turn right across all the other lanes. So that's very specific, and we only have that and see that in Melbourne worldwide. In Australia, we have very clear signage. We have typically good markings, especially in intersections. We have lanes. In China, especially in Shanghai, we saw big intersections with no lanes whatsoever. You just have to follow other traffic or just guess where to go. And we don't have that many confusing signs where you don't really know what is meant and for what times it is. We have some specific signs like pedestrian crossings or the typical kangaroo wombat crossing, of course, in the countryside. But they're quite usual, but we're very happy to see them, and we expect to see, and we did see already, some signs that we didn't think about so far. Well, in Australia we have infrastructure that is typically on the motorways very good. We have a very modern infrastructure in Sydney and Melbourne with variable speed signs that cause us some trouble, because when they blink, which they typically do when they don't show the normal speed, they don't just blink, which would be okay, but they vary the width of the red circle. And that is very difficult for our camera to see. So we have to teach that camera, and we've seen that in the past testing that we've done here, and we see it in this car as well. So that's one small topic, but it's very important because this car will eventually adapt the speed to what is necessary, and if we can't read it correctly, of course, it might be dangerous or even expensive. We have very different road situations. We have long travels on long highways. For example, the M1 from Sydney to Melbourne is a 8-9 hour drive, most of it straight away on the highway. And of course, then you have very dense traffic in the cities, in Melbourne, in Sydney, that we encounter with a lot of pedestrians, mixed traffic that we saw in China as well, but we see that here as well. And of course, a very obvious thing, this is our first country in the Intelligent World Drive that we are driving on the other side of the road. But with a left-hand driven car, as a test car from Germany, on the left side of the road, that's a challenge for us as well. In Australia, of course, we have some very specific signs. The most prominent ones, it's a little prejudice, but the most prominent ones are the animal signs. You don't have any kangaroos or wombats anywhere else. If we were in New Zealand, we would probably see kiwi crossing. Here we see kangaroo crossing, we see a wombat crossing. And the pedestrian crossing signs as well, coming from animals to other animals, human beings. We see pedestrian crossings oftentimes in combination with all different kinds of speed bumps. So that's also a challenge on road signage, but also on signage on the road itself. Not the signs, but the road markings itself. Of course, our car reacts to many of these things that were predictable already very well, especially speed signs. We've known since, let's say, early this year that the variable speed signs are a topic. We're trying to teach our camera. We're getting better. We're not there yet. The problem is always making sure you get the use case, you get the thing you need, but you avoid the ones you don't need. For example, if a truck had something flashing on its back, sometimes that happens, or just had a speed sticker, we don't want to react to that. We react to the true road signs. So yes, we're doing quite well with the speed signs. We're doing very well with speed reductions. We're doing very well with no passing zones. But there's still a way to go, especially with the variable speed signs. In our global effort to do R&D worldwide, we have very good partners here in Australia, especially our colleagues based in Melbourne. They help us very much. We have a car running here since earlier this year, and we have very valuable data that we can use for further development of our assistance systems, and we're very happy with that. And I hope we can keep that focus also on the Australian market and Australian colleagues, because this is a very innovation-friendly market. People yearn for cars, and it's a very interesting market for us because it's a very smooth traffic with very low high speeds, which helps us on a technical basis because all the traffic is very fluent and not very high differential speeds. So it makes some things easier for us.